All right, Shalom. This is Shalom from the Great Millstone Atlanta Church. Before I get started in this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles, a great millstone that teach and rule well. Peace, safety, much love, and blessings to the elect of Israel. And I'm just going to go off of this article that's on CNN.com. President Biden today is supposed to give a speech based off of the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. And for those that's not familiar with the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre that was 100 years ago, today, I want to say, I may be wrong, but I believe it started by a white woman saying that she was raped or assaulted by so-called Negro. I think it could have been one man, it could have been two, but basically this Edomite so-called white lady lied on some men, and when other Edomite men or so-called white men came to start a fight or a war or whatever in this city that was run by so-called Negroes, they were murdered. Now that's the story behind how it started off. Of course, we really don't know what happened. Mainly, it went down because you had so-called Negroes, which are Judites, or from the tribe of Judah, taking on a whole city where they were able to make their own money. They had their own hospital, they had their own doctors, they had their own stores, schools, they had their own everything, law enforcement, and it was called Black Wall Street, and they make money. So-called Negroes make money there. So of course Esau don't want that to happen in his kingdom. He has to have everything. He has to be in control of everything. So basically, they killed hundreds of people and destroyed the bodies, burnt the bodies, and set the city on fire. And also there were bombs dropped as well, and those bombs came from the U.S. government. So basically, U.S. attack U.S. citizens, but when that goes on in another country, what happens? U.S. say, "Oh, you over there killing your own people." For example, that happened in Syria a few years back. They said that they were killing their own people, so they bombed them, which makes no sense. But hey, that's how this so-called white man is, Esau Edom. But I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit in the article. The main thing is that this marks the 100th anniversary of the massacre, and it says, what do you need to know? I went over this already. It's been 100 years since the Tulsa Race Massacre, which saw a white mob obliterate the prosperous area known as Black Wall Street. As many as 300 people were killed and roughly 24 hours of violence. And it says 35 blocks of the Greenwood district were destroyed. They destroyed 35 blocks. They destroyed a whole city. And for you to call these so-called Arabs, to call them terrorists, look what they did to their own country, only because they weren't in charge of what was going on there. It says President Biden is in Tulsa today to commemorate the massacre and will announce new actions to reduce the racial wealth gap. There's no way you can cover that. Only way you can fill in that gap is take down a lot of the so-called rich, the 1%, basically take some of their money away and give it to the poor. But he actually did say he was going to do that. He was going to take. He said in his last speech, he said the 1% has to pay up what they owe. So they're going to take that money and try and give it to the so-called poor. But we already know that's not going to happen. But let me see if there anything else in here that I want to touch on before I go into the scriptures. Well, yeah, that's pretty much what went on. It doesn't really talk about how it started in this article. So if you want to, you can look it up. There's probably going to be different stories on how it went down. But I want to first go to, talking about this so-called white man, how he is. Habakkuk chapter 2 and in verse 3 says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." So that judgment is coming for Esau Edom real soon, really soon. And that's when he know that his judgment is right around the corner. So what is he gonna do? He's gonna put as much hell as he can on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, who are the Israelites today. It says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Verse 5, "Yea, also, because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keeper at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." And you know who that's talking about. Esau Edom. He goes around conquering other lands. He's been doing this all through history. Even when you go into the the kingdoms that rose and fell, the Roman kingdom, they conquered so much, so many different lands. And this place is Rome all over again. But hey, that destruction is coming real soon to this place because of who's in charge of everything. That judgment is going to happen. Hey, that's going to be hella payback, and that's just one thing that this devil has done to the so-called Negroes. We're not even going to go through everything that happened before slavery, during slavery, after slavery, all the way up into now. It's a damn devil somewhere killing a so-called Israelite right now as we speak. This is non-stop. Revelations chapter 18, I believe it's verse 6. It says, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she had filled to her double." So everything that was done to the Israelites, the Native Americans, the Spanish, the Latinos, the Negroes, hey, that same thing is gonna fall on you so-called white people. And that's justice. You can't say that we teaching hate, or we teaching, we're terrorists. We telling you what the Lord has planned for you because of the things that you've done in the past. It's gonna happen. What else do I want to get? Amos chapter 1 and verse 12 says, Salakia, verse 11. It says, "Thus said the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever." So this has been going on forever with this so-called white man who is Esau Edom. And that judgment that's gonna be. First of all, you got to go into hardcore slavery for 1,000 years, and after that, you're gonna be completely destroyed by fire. And right now, your kingdom is fallen, and it's gonna be destroyed by fire. That's a heavy judgment. That's a serious judgment coming to you, you so-called white people, and not all of you, Edomites. Some of the people that you see today that look white, a lot of them are Israelites. A lot of them go back to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it's not all white people. It goes back. It goes back to your father's bloodline. And the same thing with you so-called Negroes or you other Israelites, could be Israelites, I should say. You can have as a matter of fact, I knew a guy. He had a white father and a black mother. That would make him an Edomite, and he looks like a so-called black man, with lighter skin. And then he married a dark-skinned woman and had children by her, and they look like straight-up Negroes, but they're Edomites. So it's the other way around. You're gonna probably see, I ain't gonna say probably. You're gonna see Edomites that look like Negroes up under in slavery, up under Israelites that look like so-called Edomites, that look like so-called white people. So it's not a color thing. But hey, the so-called white man has to pay for what he's done to the Israelites. And no speech and trying to give the poor people money or none of that's gonna correct the wrong that you've done, President Biden. There's no way you can correct what your race of people have done throughout the years. It don't matter if you took all the money from the 1% of the rich and turned it around and gave it to 100 million Israelites over here. You still gotta pay back. You still gotta pay back double. All the rape, robbing, and murder, you gotta pay back double. Verse 12 says, "But I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the places of Bozrah." And those are Edomite cities. But they're not talking about back then. They're talking about when the Lord comes with that judgment. But that's pretty much all I wanted to get into. I might have to watch this speech if I'm at home to see exactly how Biden's going to piss off these other so-called white people, talking about this wealth gap that he's going to try and fill, and also going through this 100th anniversary of this Tulsa massacre. You pretty much pissing off your own people, and just bringing this back into remembrance, pissing off the so-called Negroes as well, because they gonna think back and they gonna look back and remember what happened. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakak Dash, double honors to my elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us his truth. Shalom to the elect.